So physically, ultimately, these are servers somewhere sitting, all networking devices, all those things are sitting. They're sitting in something called a region, and region is nothing but a geographical location. So like in US East, US West, UK, India, Europe, and within Europe, you might have like, for example, Amsterdam or Frankfurt and so on. Each region will have maybe up to 3 availability domain. So it's a data centers you provide. Think of it as a building 1 and building 2 and building 3. So that if one building fails, if there's a power or any outage or anything happens, another building will take care of that. And so you have a region and availability domain. And this region and availability domain is like, basically, they could be maybe 10, 15, 20 miles apart, these two different availability domains. So this is in a high level region and availability domain. I'll explain you in a minute about that. So how does region look like is when you go to your cloud account, depending on, you may have 1, 2 or more regions. So when you create an account, by default, you get a home region, and you can subscribe to, I think there are more than 33, 35 regions now to subscribe. So if in this example, you drop down, you have like showing here Netherlands, Germany, or UK South region. Then comes availability domain. So when you're creating a machine, like it could be a database machine, it could be a virtual machine, it could be a like any device that you create, like virtual machine or database, they go inside a availability domain. So you can deploy it in either AD1 availability domain 1, availability domain 2, availability domain 3, like that. So this is availability domain AD1, 2, 3. Now within availability domain, you also have a physical rack or a server inside that these virtual machines are created. That is a concept of fault domain. So fault domain will provide you the availability within a server rack. And why these 3 things are important to know? You can have the high availability options based on if you're doing fault domain across fault domain. That means then your high availability is within a availability domain, within a building or within a data center within your region. Or you can set up an high availability across availability domains, meaning that within a region, you will have high availability. But if the entire region fails, you lost your services. Third thing you can have is a regional or region pair, which means if you can have your services deployed, maybe it could be database, it could be application, it could be whatever you want to do. If a region fails, the other region will take care of that. So this is availability options like across regional failure. Now, let's take an example of this. And how do we look in the context of database? Now I'm talking in the context of database, but it could be virtual machine, it could be a load balancer, it could be anything that you have in your setup. Yeah. So here I'm saying a VMDBS system I'm building, which is nothing but my database. And again, you don't need to be a DBA. I'm just giving database as an example, but you can have a virtual machine here in this case example. So this is outer boundary is a region. In region, I have availability domain, which is one availability domain, and then there are 3 fault domains in there. So I'm creating a single machine database, which is provided in a fault domain. If this fault domain fails, or if this server rack fails, I lost my database. So what you do? I build a rack system, which is a 2-node database, but I'm going to put them across different fault domain. Now, challenge with this is, it is fine as long as my availability domain is right. So I'm protected against a server rack, but if my second availability, this whole availability domain goes down, for some reason, Oracle have a problem with them in their availability domain, I lost my database. So what I do, then I have a data guard, but across second availability domain. So I've covered it inside my databases here in fault domain. I'm also doing configuring a standby database, or maybe a standby virtual machines. And if we take an example of virtual machines, I'm covered, but I'm going across another fault domain, availability domain. Now you might say question, hey Atul, fine, but what if my entire region fails? There could be a scenario which is highly unlikely, but me as a architect, if there's a requirement to deliver a regional high availability across regions, so I can't afford if a region goes down, I might lose millions. So in that scenario, I can have a replication across region as well. And that replication is not just for database, but also my virtual machines and so on. So far, is it making sense? guys, again, put it in the chat window. Am I making sense? This is how far are two availability domain in a region. It could be JT, it could be Oracle doesn't give you the detail, but it could be a couple of miles apart, probably around ranging from 10 to 15 miles to all the way 70, 80 miles. Great. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Guys, keep asking questions. Amit will be answering them behind the scene. Now, this is a simple deployment. I've explained you the concept of region and availability domain. So this is a concept of where I have my region, which is this outside region. That has an availability domain. In that availability domain, I'm creating something called as network, which is my virtual network. Virtual network will give me the IPs. So all the machine, my database machine, virtual machine, load balancers, my network, everything needs a network or IP address. And my VCN is giving me that network. Inside that, I'm creating a subnet, which is here. This is my database. You might have created a 3-tier architecture where you have a database node or database tier, application tier, and a load balancer tier or a web tier. So same concept here. I've created a subnet with my database. I've created another subnet with my 2 virtual machines, and I'm deploying the database on top of that. I'm also deploying a load balancer, private load balancer on top of that. So and then I have a Bastion service, which is nothing but a jump box for any connectivity which I'm connecting. And then there's a concept of DRG, dynamic routing gateway, which is nothing but similar to routers you have, which is to connect your on-premise. So here I'm connecting to on-premise. My on-premise can privately connect through DRG and then can connect to all these machines. And for my application logic, I'm coming via 443 to the load balancer and the typical deployment. So this is one of the simple deployment you can do as an engineer, as an architect. Now, you can have how about high availability architecture? Because I want to make sure that I don't have a single point of failure, and I want to do it across availability domain. So I'm going to do the same thing, replicate whatever I had for one availability domain, but in second availability domain as well. And for my application tier file system, I'm using rsync the way traditionally you do. For databases, I can have a data guard. And then I have a load balancer, which is sitting outside with, I can have potentially firewall, something called as application level firewall, we call WAF, web application firewall. And there are other networking concepts, which I'm going to talk in a minute. Yep. I hope it's making sense as well. So this is a regional. What if I have a regional across region? I can do the same thing. I can extend this. I can have another network on a second region, extend it, and do my database replication and application file system replication across region as well. That's totally doable. And these are the kind of things you'll be building as an architect. You should be building across region. So this is on a high level. I wanted to keep it, as I said, we'll probably have a lot to cover. There are other solutions you can build, like for software as a service. If you're an independent software vendor, you can create multiple tenants, and you can, for your customers, if you're a software vendor, you can implement those on Oracle OCI. Or you can deploy, like if you're coming for e-business suite, we have a lot of our customers as well as students who deploy or do e-business suite R12 on OCI, or PeopleSoft or JD Edwards, or running on OCI, migrated on OCI. Or you can run cloud native. If you've not heard of, I'll ask you to pay attention to cloud native Kubernetes and containers and Dockers. Oracle provides a containerized engine, which is Oracle Kubernetes engine, OKE we call. So implementation of Kubernetes, you can build your cloud native applications on top of that. You can also build your DevOps pipeline on CI/CD DevOps pipeline on automation. You can do. There is a service available for DevOps service available on Oracle Cloud. You can, if you're coming from a networking background, if not, I will highly recommend start picking up a little bit of networking if you're not. In order for you to be a successful cloud manager or cloud engineer or a cloud architect, a little bit of networking will be helpful. So networking, deploying the virtual firewalls on top of your cloud.
So guys, this was our expert from Team K21Academy, and if in case you have some doubts and queries, then we have something really special for you. We have our free class on how to become Oracle Cloud Architect for certification and higher paying jobs. So in this interactive session, we will be discussing about why you must learn Oracle Cloud, OCI architecture, network connectivity and core services, our 8-week roadmap, plus 30 plus hands-on labs to go from complete beginner to the expert level. So all you have to do is just log on to k21academy.com/OCI02. You'll be seeing this kind of page. Just click on book your free seat now. Select your event date, add your name, your email address, your phone number, and click on yes, save my seat. Moving ahead, you'll be seeing this kind of link. All you have to do is just save this link, add it to your calendars, and I'll see you in the free class. Till then, keep learning.